Hi everybody. In this movie, I'm going to show you some ways you can add interactivity to your PowerPoint presentations. Now, I'm a big fan of PowerPoint, but I'm not a fan of things that look like PowerPoint. So I design all of my graphics in Adobe Illustrator, choose all of my colors in Adobe Illustrator, and then I recreate everything in PowerPoint, and it works really well. I use it to either create slide presentations or to take it a step further and pull it into Storyline or Adobe Captivate to create e-learning courses. So let me show you some of the ideas that I have to make your PowerPoint presentations a little bit more interesting and much more engaging. So here's my first example. I created a navigation bar on this one. You can see across the top there are some different topics. What I did was I made a separate layout for each one of these topics to be colored. So let me go up and show you. If I go up under View to Master to my Slide Master, you can see that I created the original bars, and then on each layout the exact same text appears, but on each one a different topic is colored yellow. So here it's home, here it's the next topic, and here, and so on. And then when I'm on my main slides, I can choose which topic I'm working on. So here I'm on the home slide, so I chose the home layout. Here I start a new section called What is Adobe Connect, so I chose a different layout there. And then on the master slides, I right-clicked on everything. Let me go back and show you that again. So I right-clicked on each one of these and went to Action Settings and just simply told it where I wanted it to go, and I hyperlinked it to another slide. So each one of these is set to go to the first section of, the first slide of that section. So once I've done that, copy and paste all of these onto each layout and just change the color of the text on each one. That looks so cool when you set it up that way, and it's really easy to use. So when I show the slideshow, you can see that I can just simply click here and it takes me to my different sections. It's fantastic. Really easy tip. Here's another idea, using buttons. So here I always want to give people a directive to show them how to get where I want them to go. So for example, if I go to this slide, here I put a directive at the bottom and told them select each button to learn more. And then if I go into my slideshow and I go to this section, for example, maybe here, this one has the triangles, but same kind of thing. I can click on each one of these buttons and it takes me to a slide. So, here's another one. Click on each button and it takes me to a slide. A really nice way to add interactivity and also to create a non-linear presentation so that you can skip around if you need to or get back to it, but it really just looks so much more professional and so much more interesting. I did the same thing with these little triangles. I created these as a previous and next button very easily by right-clicking on them, going into my action settings, and then set it to either next slide or previous slide. Here's another idea that I used. This is a project that I created that had a lot of different kinds of interactivity. So let me start it and show you what it looks like. On the very first slide, I added a nice little YouTube movie. So when you click this, it takes you to your browser and shows you a YouTube movie. Here I use that same kind of button technique for my next and previous buttons. I'm still working on this, but here I could add a button at the bottom that plays the animation. Instead of the animation just happening, that way I get my user to interact with my slide. Here's another example. These are talking about some different road closures, and I have a magnifying glass so they can click to learn more. When they click here, again with just an action setting, it took them to a slide with a portion of a map that's talking about that road closure. Maybe I would have some audio play here as well if I wanted to. Then they can close the map, go back and look at another one. Maybe they want to check this one out. Another portion of the map, close it, and so on and so forth. So very easy to set this up by just using buttons. Other things I did in here, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here and show you, for example, I have some true or false questions that I created with buttons. And I had some facts that I created, and I also created scenario-based learning. So here are 5 different scenarios. and you can choose which one you want to click on. Now, this was created for a live classroom training, but it can also be repurposed very easily as a self-paced movie because all the content is already here. So when I click on this little button for scenario number 2, it gives me the information, allows me to read it. Maybe I would have a place that I could answer it. This was in a live classroom, so this would be a group discussion. And then they would click on View All Scenarios to go back to that main page again. Another great way of creating interactivity very easily with actions. And finally, I'll show you one that I did that is set up as an infographic. This one is about the 1920s, my favorite time period, and I wanted to give information about what happened in each decade. So I created my graphic, and then I put a button here for each year, and I did the same thing where I created an action, and watch what happens when I play my slideshow. When I click on a year, it takes me not only to that year, but it also takes me to showing me, for example, here's 1921. It's showing me the information, and it's also giving me the facts, and the button is highlighted. So if I go to a different one, you can see as I scroll through here, very easy to see that all of my buttons are set up to automatically show the highlights so that you see what year you're on, and then give the information for that particular one. And then I have a button at the top that takes you back to the 1920s. So these are some simple ways that you can add interactivity and I think much more visual appeal to your PowerPoint presentations.